Hello viewers, today we're going to be attempting a mount of this 100 watt American Eagle Electric 115 high pressure sodium street light. So I'm going to mount it on a post I've got here in the backyard. That post over there by the ladder. Eventually I want to put one like up there and a couple of other places on the house, but I don't want to mount it on the house until I am comfortable with the mounting system, because if it falls while it's on the house, like in the area I just showed, there's a strong possibility it'll like break the window or something. So I'd rather mount it out somewhere that if it falls, I mean, the worst thing would happen is maybe the lens breaks, which still would be bad, but you could buy a new lens pretty easily. So anyways, this is the Lithonia Lighting, which is an Acuity brand's mounting arm, and it's a good match size and color wise for this. So we're going to give this a shot. Now, I have some concerns about this. Primarily, I have two concerns. Well, actually, really just one. My concern is that the mechanical advantage of the light hanging off the end of this pole is going to be very high, and so whatever is securing this is going to be very likely to pull out because it's not very long here. I feel like the pole needs to be twice as long or more. It's not, but I think that would be ideal, because this is really only meant for one of those ones like I have on the corner there. Those little those things don't weigh anything. Now the pole itself is very strong, and it could definitely handle the weight of the fixture no problem. I'm just not sure about securing it. So it come with these things, so we'll try that. I also bought these, but I don't think it really have enough length to need to change it at all. I don't know. So we got a couple different mounting options. So I think it's going to be easier to mount the pole on the post first and then put the light onto the pole afterwards. Yeah, that's not a good idea. So let's open this up here, and first off we got to put the cord on. This will just be a temporary fix up until I do something permanent. It doesn't have to enter in here very far. It just goes in, I guess it just goes in like that much. So, and the bracket itself would definitely be fine. Size wise, I'm just not sure. I think that it's going to have to end up being longer the other way. That will not fit through there, so this has to, oh, that makes it more complicated. We're going to have to do the wiring while it's on the, okay, I guess pretty much everything is going to be done outside, so let's just go ahead and mount it first. Oh, this is what it come with. I guess it would make the most sense to just use this, because if what it comes with works, then I don't have to worry about buying anything else. What the heck did they use? Thinking military grade bubble paper on this thing? What in the world? Yeah, tie wraps coming out of there. Oh, this is complicated. I hate complicated. I like simple. Good grief. Okay, so this, oh, see, this is for pole mount. So the expectation with this is that it's going to be sitting on a pole, like a, what am I thinking of? This, I believe, yeah, I think the intention is this would go, or was this, is this for holding, I gotta see how this is gonna work here. I mean, that's not bad, but one of these is definitely not, I don't think that one of these will be enough. Well, I mean, the bracket is pretty strong, but I don't know. So the other option is two of these. You know, one like this and one at the bottom. I kind of like this option better because if this is flush up against there, some of the force will go onto the pole itself, whereas this, you're putting all the force directly onto here. Plus, I mean, you could put something like a block of wood down here to secure it and take some of the weight off. You really would have to put this pretty much all the way at the top and then do something to hold it up at the bottom. Those are some pretty good bolts. I don't know though. I don't really think I like that. Could always try both, you know. I would prefer these to have been secured on both sides. It makes me a little nervous that it's only secured on one side, but I just feel like this would be stronger. Because this will hold it right up against the, you know, right up against there and keep it steady. Well, this suddenly became much more complicated than it should be. Seems to be a reoccurring theme around here. Well, and I think I don't trust that. I would have to get some washers because that's right on the edge. Yeah, I'd have to get some washers. I could use these. These would not, those would not go through. I don't know. These both have separate advantages to them. If I had two of these brackets, I'd feel more comfortable. But I don't. I only have one. So I want to put something kind of like that. That's not exactly the right space, but something like that under there to prop it up, which I could just cut a piece of wood and do that. I got plenty of wood pieces. That's a little bit too much, but geez, I don't know what to do here. Well, I think I'm gonna go with my system first. I mean, this is just so heavy though. Maybe like that is the way to do it then. Both pretty much up at the top. Because this is where this at the bottom of the pole the force will be pushing in. It's the top where the force will be coming out. And these brackets are pretty heavy duty. I don't think that these are going to bend. Well, let's go with that and see how it works. You know, if it doesn't work, then we'll try something else. That's kind of the whole point of this, is to figure out what's going to work. All right, let's go for it. Let's see. Huh. Unreal. Great. It's none of these. I really don't want to screw this in with a Phillips. I always like to use the whatever that's called, if possible. Where are the other bits? I might just have to use a Phillips just to make sure I get one that fits it real good, that's all. Well, I don't know where the thing is that I'm looking for. So we'll go back inside again, unless does this fit satisfactorily? No, it doesn't. That's how you strip out screws. Okay, this is starting to get a little ridiculous. I don't know where the other thing I want is. Here it is. I knew I had seen it recently. And that doesn't have anything in it that I wanted. Okay. Well, it's the other thing that I need, which is also missing. Alright, this is ridiculous. There we go. This bit fits it pretty good. Of course, I don't know how on earth you're supposed to get these things out of there. The microscopic fingers. You know, it's one thing when, like, millennial devices have things like this for stupid tiny fingers, but working man's equipment should not have this problem. Good. Okay, so now we have this, which is good fit. Now let's go ahead and get this onto the pole. See how many times it falls while I try to put it up. Once. Alright, that's pretty good. This pole isn't wide enough to put one on the other side, so they're going to have to both be on that side, which is not ideal, but whatever. No, it's going to strip out. I'm going to have to find the other head. Or I'll need to pre-drill holes. Probably should pre-drill the holes. Yeah, because you know what, actually I'm going to pre-drill the holes, because if these are the same bolts that come with those fixtures I have on the deck, the heads just snap off if there's too much resistance. So let's just pre-drill the holes and avoid that problem. So this will need this one should be good. This is wet wood, so it's going to kind of swell back after I drill the hole, so I'm going to have to even go a little bigger. Lovely. Another piece of cracked skin. Or is that a splinter? I think that's well, a piece of metal from the screw went into that crack in my hand. Oh yeah, definitely did. Okay. Let's take an injury break here. Alright, I have recovered. That was nothing like yesterday's injury. It's a little piece of metal had gotten in that crack in my hand. Alright. The cold is starting to get to my nose here. It's a little more brisk than I thought it was. That's not going to hold it. That will hold it. To switch to the common bit for this. Not exactly sure on the angle here. I'll have to mess with that later. This is only a test, so it doesn't really matter. Oops. Why is that so wobbly? It's not tight, that's why. I need the other stinking bit set. Where is it? This is not going to go on right if I don't have those bits. You know what? I think they're upstairs. I hope they're upstairs. Here it is. This is what I wanted. was just a spider in there. Hate spiders. Alright, so we need one of these. Double. Don't have one that fits. Thought I had a socket set in here. Is that going now too? This is ridiculous. Alright, let's try the old-fashioned screwdriver. At least this head is big enough, I think, that it will not slip. I can't with this. I need the stinking socket set. Where are the sockets? This is ridiculous. If this doesn't work, then I'm out of options. Of course. Good. Still can move. It's not going to come off, that's for sure, but it can move freely left to right, which is a problem. I wonder if this one should be moved down and grab it, grabbing it there instead. Oh, no, that's not going to work at all. Alright, this gets a 0. This does not work at all. And this is why we're testing it now. Alright, so that gets a 0. That will not work. I think if these had holes on either side, they would have worked, but not the way it is now. No chance. Alright, so that's fail number 1. So we've discovered one way that doesn't work. Now we just need to discover the way that does. Okay, let's put this back where it belongs. Alright, so the next plan will be to use this bracket that it come with, this one, and we'll mount this up here, and I mean, let's just see what it does. Worst case scenario is it's well, I think what I'm going to do to assist this bracket is once I get it on here, I'm going to put, it's got to be where it's straight, so I'll put it there, and I'm going to put a block of wood under here to, I'll cut this down or something and put that there to take that weight on the bottom. So let's go ahead and tighten this up onto here first. Now, if this was a lightweight application, I suspect this would work fine. But I think the angle is going to be somewhat kind of like that, just a little bit turned. Yeah, we'll go with something like that. Again, this is just temporary to test. So let's put these on here. I think that's what this is for. Yeah, that would make sense. Oh gosh, need another nut thing now. I think the next tool I buy is going to be a 1,000,000-piece socket set. Because for whatever reason, I don't have a good socket set, and it takes me forever to find one that works through multiple different sets I have to go through to find one that works. come on. This is getting a little ridiculous. Stupid cold. I hate the cold. It needs to be summer already. Though actually today is not that cold for what is typically like this time of year. For heaven's sakes. Actually, 45 is pretty good for this time of year. Usually it's only in the 30s at most. Alright, that's actually pretty sturdy, I think. Yeah, that's not bad. So now, let's see. Oh gosh, my stinking nose. I don't think it's worth the trouble to use those bolts. I'll just use these screws because they'll fit. So just grab 4 of these screws. Why is this so difficult to open? And then, let's see here. I'll need to, this isn't going to work. I'll have to cut something else. Yeah, I'll do that after I get this up so we can see exactly what we need. I got some pieces inside that I think should work. Okay, here we go again. Take 50. Oh, it's really only take 2. It's not that bad. I think these screws are number 2. Yes, they are. Okay, here we go. Take 2. My only concern here is that when I screw this on, because these are kind of bent inwards a little bit, I don't know how that's going to work. I guess we'll find out. Yeah, that's pretty good. If this was not there, I think that would be quite stable. So let's see if I can get something to fill in that gap. I have some scrap pieces from when I was shortening the legs on the studio table, so maybe one of those will be the right size. Here we go. This one looks about what we need, actually. Let's see. Huh, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's quite strong. Alright, I'm happy with that. I think even just putting it like this would work. Yep. I like that. Okay. Now for the light. Okay, so I guess we have to, oh boy, more stinking bolts. Somebody had mentioned in the previous video of this fixture that the transformer was not in place, and that was correct. It was not in place, so I remounted it back and it seems to be fine now. Alright, let's go ahead and get this up on the pole. I should probably put this thing in there first. Whoops. See if we can like not wreck the place in appearances. Yeah, it went on a lot easier than that comes off. Okay. Is that loose too? No, I guess it's okay. It seems like it's loose, but I think it's just because it's just flimsy aluminum or whatever that is. I see different angles here we could utilize. I think we'll go all the way up like that. Well, I guess it wants to sit on that level instead. That's fine. This stinking ratchet doesn't work that good anymore. I desperately need a socket set that works. Well, that might have been the last thing that we used this for. Yeah, it's actually surprisingly sturdy. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, cool. Oh, it doesn't look bad at all. This stuff looks so much smaller when you actually get it up in place compared to when it's sitting there on the table. Yeah, that's not bad at all like that. Alright, cool. I may have to adjust the angle a little bit more. Angle it outwards. I could go up 2 more notches, but it just wasn't cooperating because of this. Couldn't get it on there good real quick. Alright, now the screwdriver has disappeared. So we'll use this one, even though this isn't the one that I want. But I've been told that those screws have a tendency to strip anyway, so perhaps it's just as well that we use one that won't give us a lot of torque. It's rusted shut. Oh, I guess it won't be grounded then. Which is not ideal, but it is only temporary, so it'll survive. So will I. Alright. Let's get the bulb in there. I think this is toolless from here out. Just putting this on. Needs the stinking lens. Now somebody accused me of putting the... Okay, that time they would have been accurate, but somebody accused me of putting the lens on wrong. And the explanation that he or she gave didn't make any sense to me. To me, this is very clear. It sits in here, it goes along there, and it sits in here, and then you turn this over to shut it. That seems obvious. So I'm not really sure what it is that I'm doing wrong, or if that person is just not correct. I find it hard to believe that this is not the way it's supposed to go. Or maybe this... Is this supposed to turn all the way around? Like this? No, that wouldn't really make sense because it doesn't have anything to... It's not grabbing onto anything. It doesn't quite grab onto that either. I feel like that would be something that's toolless. No, that doesn't seem right either, though. It shouldn't be loose like that. Well, we're gonna go like this. And if that's wrong, then somebody tell me, but explain the correct way to do it. Just telling me that it's wrong isn't helpful. I need to know why it's wrong and how to fix it. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, no. You gotta be kidding me. I'm gonna have to take this off. Okay, then. I guess I gotta take it off. I'm not gonna deal with that stupid ratchet again. Unless is there some way I can convert this to... No, I don't have the piece. No, there's no shot. I can't do nothing with this. I hate when tools don't work correctly. It's annoying. Oh, now it seems to be working okay. Okay. That should be enough to let me pull it off to get it on. It's gotta come way off. Come on. Okay. That seems to be copacetic. That seems to be copacetic as much as it can be for a test. Let's close this up. Okay. That's pretty secure. Alright, let's get some power to it. Well, we certainly have no shortage of power cables available right now. I lost the battery on the camera, but I just plugged it in, that's all I did. That's not gonna work. I have to clean that out. I guess it's okay for now. I need something to put over the top of the sensor. Yeah, this will work. Okay, nothing exploded, so that's a start. I can't tell. Oh yeah, it's on. Alright, good, that's in operation. Take that thing off the sensor. Should turn off in a few minutes. Goes. All right, so this is mounting option number 1. See how it fares. I don't hate it, but I don't particularly like it either. It's just kind of okay. I think it's okay for a case like this, but I'm not sure I would trust it on the house.